I am a child of a public school teacher and a small business owner, born and raised here in West Michigan. I'm a Girl Scout troop leader. I am a proud person of faith. I am an even more proud mother. I am an attorney and have focused primarily most of my career on public interest law. After law school, I worked for the Department of Veterans Affairs, where I helped root out fraud, waste, and abuse. From there, I went to WMU and was in-house counsel for the university and got to help them with all sorts of things. And then most recently, I continued my education law practice, but in private practice. And so this is something that I have been called to do for a very long time, and I've been preparing personally and professionally to hold this position of trust. I think I have a good skill set for working with different groups of folks who come from different backgrounds and trying to find common ground. I have a very deep love for our country. I look at public service, being a civil servant, similar to I wasn't in the military, so this is my way of giving back to our country. Congress obviously is in a really rough spot right now, and it appears that folks in both parties are so far removed or unwilling to talk to each other that nothing's happening. And so I would like to get in there and try to bring us back to a place where we can have, um, discourse where we are discussing the issues and where we're looking to find common ground. Well, like I said, I'm an attorney. I think being trained in how to read, understand, interpret, and apply the law is very important when you're trying to write the law. I've spent my undergrad degree is in political theory and constitutional democracy. So I studied not only our founding documents, but the documents that the founders relied on when they wrote our founding documents. So really understand what this democratic republic is meant to be and what the founders wanted it to be. And, obviously from there, I went to law school in DC. I also served as an intern for Congressman Bonnier. He's on the east side of the state for the summer between my junior and senior years in college, where I worked both in his whip office at the time he was the whip, in the Capitol, and then his legislative office. And then in law school, I was an intern for Senator Levin for my third year of law school, and worked with him in the permanent subcommittee on investigations, where we did the Enron hearings at the time. So I think, all of those things. Also, as I mentioned, I was a federal employee for 9 years. So all of those things together, plus my varied background, I went to the public schools. And my dad was a lawyer, and so I was exposed to both sides of the community when I was growing up. And, I've got some very right-leaning family members and some very left-leaning family members, and people of all shapes, sizes, religions, colors, you name it. And so having that varied experience has given me the ability to find those common grounds, those commonalities between different groups and different backgrounds, so we can move forward. The first one I would say is the rising cost of living. We know just going to the grocery store is more expensive than it used to be. Getting, clothes for your kids to go to school is more expensive than it used to be. So that's one. The second one I would put at protecting Lake Michigan. I mean, especially here on the west side, protecting Lake Michigan and our drinking water. We have found PFAS in our drinking water in this district. We've got a Superfund site in this district. And Lake Michigan is one of the jewels of the world, if you ask me. And I spent many, many hours and years there as a child and as an adult. And I want to make sure it's there for many, many generations to come. And then the third one is to continue fighting for women's reproductive health rights. While Michigan is in a great spot with our state constitutional amendment, there is a national abortion ban that is in Congress right now, and our existing congressperson is sponsored it. So we need to make sure that we continue to have these rights. So in terms of what I can do to help lower the cost of living, I'd like to, take a look at the cost of medical insurance and prescription drugs. Obamacare did a great start. Like every other law, there's room for improvement. And so we'd like to look there and try to find a way to make it cheaper, more affordable for everybody to get health insurance, which then helps everybody in turn. Prescription drug prices, as we've had the infrastructure bill the Inflation Reduction Act allowed Medicare to negotiate drug prices, put a cap on the price of insulin, and I would like to try to find a way to broaden that out from just the Medicare eligible population. So there's a couple of them. Within that too, housing, we've heard that from many, many folks in the debates last night. That housing is a big problem. And I would like to look at using some community project funding, ways to bring that into our community here to try to find a way to solve the housing crisis. Again, with Lake Michigan and our drinking water, a start is going to be to begin our transition to renewable energy. We've got, I'm trying to think here. Transition to renewable energy, continue studying it, continue trying to find ways that we can not only take these forever chemicals out of our groundwater and our lakes and our streams, but to stop putting them in. There have been bills out there that would prevent companies and corporations from dumping PFAS into our groundwater and our system, and those bills haven't passed Congress. So those are some of the things that people here want: clean water, and that's something to do. And then continuing to fight for women's reproductive health rights. Obviously, there's a bill right now that would protect access to contraception. There's a bill that would protect access to IVF. I would obviously co-sponsor both of those, get on those, try to get those passed, and make sure that a national abortion ban never becomes law. Absolutely. That really is one of the main reasons that I am running here. In addition to those three concrete examples that I gave, is I really truly believe that there's more that we all agree on than disagree on. I think most of us are in the middle rather than the extremes of either side. And our country was built on making compromise for the greater good. And that's what we need to do. Again, having nothing happen is not in the best interest of our country and our citizens. So bipartisanship is absolutely something I will work on. In terms of how to do it, I hope to be a member of the Problem Solvers Caucus. They've done really great work in trying to find ways to reach across the aisle. What I've been telling folks all along here is I will commit to listening to all reasonable positions, any reasonable position. And when an issue comes up, I will get information from both sides, all sides. I will listen, and I will then take all that information and make the best decision for the district and the country, and without regard to which political party came up with the solution.